This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. My beloved child brought me coffee, so I'm recaffeinated and ready to go. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, we must talk about Iran's Kobe moment and its president in a helicopter in the fog is no more. It's actually kind of remarkable. Let's put Iran in perspective here. When the United States killed Qasem Soleimani, Iran's response was to lob a bunch of missiles into Iraq, and in the process blew up an Iranian airliner full of passengers, and at first refused to admit that's what happened, and only later says, yeah, our bad, we blew it up. They're not exactly competent. They're great at funding terrorist proxies. They themselves aren't necessarily the best at doing things themselves. So the Iranian president and foreign minister go to East Azerbaijan, which is an Iranian province, and have what is called a hard landing in the fog. And essentially, it was a helicopter crash in which the foreign minister and the president of Iran were killed. It has taken so long to try to recover them. The Russians and the European Union have both been enlisted into the efforts to try to rescue or at least try to find the wreckage of the Iranian president. Literally, the people of Iran have been celebrating. They've been shooting off fireworks and on social media putting up pictures of them popping champagne and toasting the death of Iran's leader. That's how hated the man is. Now, it is noticeable, and I want to give you the perspective. This is how Reuters covered Ibrahim Raisi. This is the tweet. Ibrahim Raisi, who died age 63, rose through Iran's theocracy from hardline prosecutor to uncompromising president as he burnished his credentials to position himself to become the next supreme leader. He's actually a mass murderer. His nickname is the Butcher. He tortured pregnant women, among other things. Brutal, brutal dictator. That's who this man is. And good, he's dead. Now, what's notable here is the conspiracy theory. Those of you who are Jewish, we need to have a chat for a moment. You Jews and I, your Calvinist friend here. I realize you guys control banking and you control Hollywood. You control the governments of the world through the Rothschilds and King Charles III. It's all a vast Jewish conspiracy. This is what I'm told. The internet tells me you Jews are in charge of everything. I even now have a Jewish boss. The Jews are in charge of me, apparently. But none of you Jews are as competent as the Mossad agent who assassinated Iran's president. And you Jews have holidays for like everything. You've got Yom Kippur. You've got all the crazy nights of Hanukkah, Rosh Hashanah, you name it. You need to have a new Jewish holiday for the Jewish Mossad agent who assassinated Ibrahim Raisi, because on news broadcasts across the Middle East, they have identified the assassin. It was not a helicopter crash. No. No, it was a Mossad agent who the Iranian press and the Palestinian press is referring to as Eli Copter. I'm not making this up. So someone on social media made a joke that it was a Mossad agent, Eli Copter, helicopter, who killed Ibrahim Raisi. And it began to make its way into Telegram channels. Telegram is an app on phones a lot of people around the world use. And on Palestinian Telegram channels, they began to refer to the Jew Eli Copter who assassinated Ibrahim Raisi. And by late yesterday evening and early morning, it was literally making it into news broadcasts in the Middle East that Eli Copter is responsible for the death of... No, I'm watching the newscast. You know, it's in a different language, but I will translate this for you. The Telegram claims that the helicopter pilot is a Mossad agent and even gives his name, Eli Copter. Is this true or not? Of course, it's all part of the rumors that are circulating, but what seems to be is that the authorities have not yet confirmed this. Well played, whoever started this. Israel's now most infamous Mossad agent, Eli Copter, is responsible for the death of the individual. Now, there is a side tie here. And this is, I personally think, to Israel's shame. Israel has allied itself with Azerbaijan, which is systematically exterminating Armenian Christians. Israel is on the side of Azerbaijan, which is a Muslim ally of Israel. And the territory where the Iranian president went down is eastern Azerbaijan, which is actually a province of Iran near Azerbaijan that has some disputed territory with Azerbaijan, and that has fueled the conspiracies that maybe the Jews had something to do with it, because it's well known inside Iran that Israel and Azerbaijan have been allied in getting rid of the Christians in the western disputed territories of Azerbaijan near Armenia. This fueled some of it. Now, who's going to be the Iranian president? It appears the new president is Mohammad Makbar. Mohammad Makbar is the current. There are 12 vice presidents in Iran, not just one. But the first vice president is the guy who would step in, assuming Khomeini blesses him. Khomeini has already blessed him. Mohammad Makbar is in charge of the Ayatollah Ali Khomeini's stolen funds. So when Iranians are tortured and killed, the Ayatollah steals their family money. And it gets invested into an account, and the head of the investment account is Mohammad Makbar, who is the top vice president for Iran and the supreme leader of the 12 vice presidents. Now, this is very notable as well, because Mohammad Makbar was set to be the Ayatollah. But by tradition in Iran, the presidents of Iran do not rise to be Ayatollah. So by becoming the careholder president, there's an election coming up and he's not on the ballot. Makbar probably will lose out to Khomeini's son. If Khomeini passes the Ayatollah position to his son, then they have become the Pahlavis, the inherited Shah regime that the Ayatollah Khomeini tossed. And that in and of itself produces some destabilization for the Iranian regime by making the Ayatollah essentially a hereditary monarchy. The way the Ayatollah is supposed to work is supposed to be a direct descendant of Muhammad, but not a descendant from the same house. But what's going to happen as well is there's just going to be more butchery from Iran. I saw someone put up a tweet from some news organization saying anyone who cheers on the death of the president of Iran is clearly a Zionist. Well, count me then as a Zionist, although I'm not necessarily cheering the death of the president of Iran. I'm more mourning the goats in hell having to deal with him when he gets there. Poor goats. Events change things. And this is where I want to wind up in this winding portion here on dealing with this, what has happened. Events change things. 2 days ago, the president of Iran was in charge of the domestic policies of the Iranian regime, and Iran's foreign minister was with him and alive, and on behalf of the Ayatollah directing terrorist regimes and rogue entities around the world, and now they are both dead. And they are dead not because of Eli Copter Mossad agent or the Israelis. They are dead because they were in a helicopter in the fog. It's a similar situation to what happened to the American basketball player Kobe Bryant, in a helicopter in the fog. And in this case, there was a hard landing. The helicopter crashed and they died. And they probably died, frankly, not because of the helicopter. Well, nope. Just seeing the images, it appears, yes, a very hard crash into trees, trying to find a clear landing area, and it was very difficult. They crashed. The helicopter died, or the helicopter crashed in thick fog, and they died. And they might have lingered for some time, but it has taken almost 24 hours for anyone to get to the site of where the helicopter crashed. They had to call in the Kremlin. They had to call in the European Union. They needed help doing what began as a rescue operation and then a recovery operation. Events change things. This is destabilizing to the Iranian regime because they were in the middle of a presidential succession, and the guy who's now going to serve as president was in line to be the Ayatollah's. The Ayatollah's health is failing, but because of precedents in the country, that becomes very hard to do. Things get shaken up in the regime now. The Iranian people are excited by this moment of weakness. You know who's really upset about it all is Ben Rhodes, Mr. Hamas from the Obama administration is lamenting all the people celebrating this, how terrible it is for the Middle East that this man died. Some such, I don't know. The guy is just he's a hack for bad rogue regimes in the Middle East, and he's all upset, it seems, about the Iranian president dying. But events change things. Events change things. And this Biden administration has done a terrible job handling the events of the Middle East. This situation here, perhaps destabilizing things further, as Iran, increasingly paranoid, probably does ultimately convince itself that Azerbaijan and Israel together assassinated their president, something that does not appear to be true at all. But events change things. And what this administration has failed to grasp is that without some sort of coherent policy, it's not up for changing events. And this administration has no coherent policy in the Middle East right now. It has both punished and tickled the Houthi, punished and tickled Hamas, punished and tickled Israel. It seems to have no philosophy other than we need to take a poll to figure out what to do. That's not a philosophy that's being led around by the hecklers. And that further destabilizes the whole world at a time the world needs some stability. Events change things, and this administration is not up for the changing of events at a pace moving far beyond their expectations and far beyond their control. Without a governing philosophy for how they should navigate the Middle East, more chaos is going to come. Before I get out of here, let me go on and take Aaron's phone call here. Aaron, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Great. What's going on?
So I'm Jewish, and, I have to say all those conspiracies you were saying before are stuff that are way too familiar. But the helicopter one I thought was a joke until I actually saw it. And, like you said, it's too good to be true almost. But
yeah,
one interesting thing I wanted to share about it is, some of my Jewish friends were saying it's actually hearkening back to Eli Cohen, the famous Israeli spy who was killed in Syria. Thought you might find that interesting.
Oh yeah, okay, yes, you're right. Seriously, I got to say, for those who think that I'm joking here or that Aaron's joking, I thought it was actually a joke too until I actually saw the broadcast and the broadcaster, as I narrated over the guy talking. really did say there is this rumor of a Mossad agent named Eli Copter, that was the pilot's name. And the fact that it made it into a newscast as one of the rumors circulating is actually hilarious to me. Aaron, thanks very much for the phone call. Y'all, the internet, sometimes it can be a gem. The Iranian president dying and Scotty Scheffler going to jail is times that the internet was made for. In fact, Max Homa, I think he came in outside the top 10 at Valhalla in the PGA tournament, and yesterday put up a piece on Instagram, and he said, "We didn't go as well as I wanted. I lost to a guy who went to jail." Guy is great. All right, 877-973-7425. We'll be back.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
Welcome back. The phone number 877-973-7425. Chip, I'm going to go to you. I know where you're going here, so be careful.
Yes, sir. Hey, Eric, nice to talk to you, partner. Hey, I just wanted to remind you and the listening audience about the Korean airliner that bounced its tail off the San Francisco runway maybe 8 or 10 years ago. And across multiple, national news platforms,
yes,
they did announce the pilots, several pilots, two of those which I'll mention, and one of the pilots' name was Wee Tu Lo, and the other one was Sum Ting Wong.
Yes, that's true. And it made national news. And yes, the third one we can't say on radio. Yes, right. But it was holy and then word we can't say. But yes, it is true. But it literally right. it got picked up by the national press. It was crazy.
But
I forgot about that.
I've got. If you've got another second, can I share something else with you about?
Got 30 seconds.
Okay, hey, I several years ago I purchased a Prestige license plate for a motorcycle in the state of Georgia. I still have it. It's these letters. It's MAGA 45. I went 2 weeks ago, and it shows available on the Georgia Department of Motor Vehicle website. I went to the Peachtree Corners, Georgia tag office to get MAGA 47, and they would not give it to me, denied me the access to it, and would not tell me why. What's your opinion of that, sir?
I think that's the problem with these Prestige license plates is it gives too much discretion to local bureaucrats to decide what is or is not acceptable. If 45 was acceptable, 47's got to be acceptable, and you can probably appeal it to them. And good.
Yep.
All right, I got to let you, Chip. I got to let you go there, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would absolutely push them on that one since 45 was acceptable. Y'all, I got to tell you about Vision Computers. Now, listen, I'm going to shake this up and say I'm going to go in a direction that maybe Vision doesn't want me to go in, but I think I need to go in this because some of your kids are headed off to college. You don't want your kids to worry about technology when they get to college. You want them to worry about getting a good grade. And so if you buy the college computer they need from Vision Computers, any one of you nationwide, they'll have Vision to rely on. If they have any problem at all, they'll be able to call Vision and completely comes complimentary with the computer. They'll be able to not only get a great computer that lasts them through college, but they'll also get their support so they can call Vision if they ever have a problem and Vision will answer. Now, let's do this for business as well. If you didn't get your computer from Vision Computers, but you've got computers and you need tech support for $179 a year, not a month, a year per computer, they can be your tech support. And so you'll get a number, and in 15 seconds or less, you'll be able to get the answer to your computer problems. It's great. 404-COMPUTE is the number, 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. If you call 404-COMPUTE and tell them I sent you, you get an even better deal, and they build great computers too. We've got one at our house, visioncomputers.com. Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I got to shake up the show. There's stuff I want to get to, but this is way more important than the things I wanted to talk about. I got to play you some audio that has happened over the last hour or so while we've been on air. It really is remarkable. This first from Jake Tapper's commentary at CNN.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating stuff, and I have to say I'm still kind of reeling from the revelation. that Michael Cohen stole money from the Trump organization, and that wasn't, at least to my knowledge, that the prosecution didn't get that out earlier, because it's not as though the prosecution is going to be helped by further evidence that Michael Cohen is a shady character. I'll get to the newest stuff in a second, but what's your reaction to that news? Because that was just kind of stunning.
I'm shocked that we are hearing it for the first time on day 3 of cross-examination of Michael Cohen, that the prosecution did not take the sting out, did not front it, because it goes to the heart of the actual case. It's not.
Yes, it does. That's the problem. This is Eli Honig, who is the legal correspondent for CNN, legal analyst.
The way this was raised and addressed on direct is what Julia Louis-Dreyfus would call yada yada yada. I mean, here's what Michael Cohen said.
I think that was George Costanza.
No.
Was it? It was Elaine.
It was Elaine.
Really?
Yeah. It was Elaine.
Okay.
Yada yada yada.
Let's debate it longer. I like this.
But here's the direct testimony, the way Michael Cohen explained what happened.
It's actually a girl that Costanza was dating. But okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Michael Cohen explained this whole thing, quote, "That's what was owed, and I didn't feel Mr. Trump deserved the difference." That's a lot different than I stole $60,000 from my boss on the transaction at the heart of this case. And by the way, the fact that he was never charged with larceny is important, because stealing $60,000 through fraud, which would be larceny in New York State, is more serious of a crime than falsifying business records.
This is one of.
Yes. Now, even MSNBC is having a moment on this one.
There may have been a real moment here just in the last few minutes, in that Michael Cohen was caught in cross-examination. They asked him about a transaction with another company where he admitted to stealing cash from the Trump organization. Now, throughout this trial, consider this. The prosecution has painted Michael Cohen as sort of this bumbling, pathetic character whose only sins were his misguided, undying loyalty to Donald Trump. Did you lie to Congress? Yes, I did, but I did it because I was in the sway of the Svengali hold of Donald Trump. But now you see something a little different. Now there's an argument to be made that actually you're just an opportunistic thief. You literally pocketed money from your employer. And as an attorney, the idea, first of all, of paying in bags of cash is, look, defense attorneys, I do not like to accept cash. Frankly, I refuse to accept cash. It's only asking for trouble. But dealing in these sandwich bags of cash, these brown paper bags of cash to pay people is already problematic. But the idea that he would just grab a wad of cash and stick it in his pocket, I think has moved Michael Cohen from this figure where he's part Tom Hagen from The Godfather, but really more like Fredo Corleone, to now this guy who's just a thief. Again, I bet that comes up in closing a lot. The fact that he just admitted that he would willingly steal from his own client.
Yes. This was bad, and now here we have the exchange on Fox News.
Cohen was given this payment that he negotiated with Weisselberg, and this included the Stormy Daniels repayment that was, quote, grossed up so that Cohen didn't have to take a tax burn on it. This just happened now, okay? Plus, in addition, he was paying a tech firm and a firm called Red Finch. And Cohen confirms that he owed Red Finch $50,000 and never paid the full cash. Trump's attorney, Bland, says, "You stole from the Trump organization." Cohen says, "Yes, sir." He also confirms lying to Alan Weisselberg. I don't know how many that is on the list, but that's another prevarication. And Cohen says he never pleaded guilty to larceny. On they go. Blanche presses Cohen. "You did steal from the Trump organization based upon the expected reimbursement of Red Finch." And he says, "Yes, sir." So that just happened in court. Kennedy, where are you this morning on this?
Well, that's only one of the things that we know about that has come to life under this grueling cross-examination, which is continuing as we speak in that courthouse. But you know, I'm with Paul. I'm one of these people looking at this going, what exactly is illegal here? What is the crime? And then people go, he paid a porn star. It's like, yeah, but what's the crime? And, you know, all that we're seeing from this is Donald Trump may be a bad judge of character. So when someone expresses a deep loyalty to him, he gives that back to them in return and sometimes doesn't pay attention to the very red flags, as red as that Finch of that tech company that Michael Cohen apparently stole money from. But you have bad actors who are the star witnesses who have not delivered, who, you know, they are really crumbling under cross-examination.
They are crumbling. Michael Cohen, this is, I got to just say, this is bad. I want to acknowledge I was not a fantastic criminal defense attorney. I didn't like to do it. I did it and never had to go to trial because all my clients were guilty. They were indigent criminal defendants, and they just needed someone to help them through the process of pleading guilty and taking as little punishment as they possibly could, which I was great because the DAs liked me, and I had a great relationship with them of whittling down what otherwise would have been big sentences. But, you know, I do know how to cross-examine someone, and I did do civil trials. And a rule of thumb, like this is witness 101. When you have a witness who has stolen money from the defendant and is testifying against the defendant, you get that out at the very beginning. You get out every bad thing. But this is the problem with Michael Cohen as the witness for the prosecution, is there's so much. There's so much. He lied to Congress. He went to jail. He did all sorts of bad things. All of these things, and they never got out that he stole $60,000 from the Trump Organization. And what's more remarkable about it is he just said, when asked, you did steal, this is a direct quote from the trial now, you did steal from the Trump Organization based upon the expected reimbursement of Red Finch. And Michael Cohen responds, yes, sir. The defense attorney says you stole from the Trump Organization. And Cohen says, yes, sir, and acknowledges he lied to the CFO of the Trump Organization. And this is the prosecutor's case. This is the prosecutor's case. Y'all, I have a real hard time. Thinking that a reasonable jury, now that's the standard here, a reasonable jury is going to go for a conviction of Donald Trump based on this. But there's something else too. I have a real hard time thinking there's going to be a conviction when all of the news networks, and even the news networks that are most hostile to Donald Trump, like MSNBC, are beginning to play down coverage of the trial. They're beginning to distance themselves from the trial. I mean, listen, this is Larry O'Donnell, a progressive, on MSNBC, trying to spin this in Michael Cohen's favor.
Let me bring in MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell, host of The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, who has been inside the courtroom. You've been there almost every day. You have the strength of beyond mortal men. But what was worth it to you today? What did you see? What did you hear?
Well, you know, the courtroom is where I began as a writer and a reporter a long time ago. So this is a homecoming for me in terms of a workplace. The shocking thing at the end of that cross-examination, and I just can't tell you how stunning it was, because it's the thing that I was waiting for. I saw everything Todd Blanche. I've seen every minute of cross-examination. I've seen every single question he's asked. And he sat down and ended his cross-examination without asking a single question about the $130,000 that appears on the Allen Weisselberg notes about how they were structuring the payment to Michael Cohen. He asked about the $50,000 that's irrelevant to the $130,000, and that's where he very effectively got Michael Cohen to agree that yes, he stole $30,000. Later, when Cohen was asked about that on redirect by the prosecution, it didn't really sound like stealing $30,000. It sounded a lot like Michael Cohen doing the little that he could within that calculation to rebalance the bonus he thought he deserved, and it still came out as less than the bonus he thought he deserved and the bonus he'd gotten the year before.
That's the best they have. Well, on redirect, it didn't really sound like he stole it, except there's the problem. As Lawrence O'Donnell himself knows, if he could be candid and outside of his Trump derangement syndrome, when you're on the stand and you are the star witness for the prosecution, they saved you for the end. You are it. And you admit you stole money from the organization and it didn't come out from the prosecution. And the best the prosecution is able to do is to try to spin it as, well, I thought I was owed more of a bonus. That's really bad. That's really not a good thing. It undermines your credibility as the star witness of the prosecution. In fact, this trial is almost wrapped up because they're done after Michael. They're going to let the defense make their case, and the defense doesn't have a lot of witnesses because they so undermine. You've got now. Keep in mind, you've got Stormy Daniels, who admitted under oath in this trial she would say or do anything she possibly could to get Donald Trump to go to jail. She owes him a large sum of money, and she will defy a court so that she doesn't have to pay him. She wants him to go to jail. And you have Michael Cohen say now how much he hates Donald Trump. He stole money from Donald Trump, that Donald Trump should go to jail. He'll say or do whatever. He admits he lied to Congress. He admits he lied to Alan Weisselberg at the Trump Organization. He admits he's a serial liar. He got called out on his lies. This is not the strong case that the Democrats thought they had. This is why they walked away from the case originally, and they've tried to come back and be good team sports for Alvin Bragg. But as this case has gone down, I mean, you've got on MSNBC, you've got on CNN, you've got in the newspapers, and you've got on social media, all the Democrats and the left just saying, oh my gosh, this case, I cannot believe it's gone as badly as it has. Yes, it has gone that bad for the prosecution. Keep in mind, we know there's at least one person on the jury who appears to be sympathetic to Donald Trump, and you've got individually 3 lawyers separate from that guy on the case. I can't imagine, particularly because they've never even really been able to show the underlying federal crime the case is based on, that they're going to be able to convict the guy. I have said time and time again, the case in Florida about classified documents was the substantive case. Of all of the cases, this has always been the weakest case. And the irony is that Alvin Bragg's hubris and arrogance pursuing this case, and if Trump is found not guilty or gets a hung jury, this is going to be the case that gets Donald Trump elected to the presidency. Because the left hung their hats on this, and it's all fallen apart because their star witness was Michael Cohen. Now, China thinks our economy is falling apart. They have been buying up all the gold reserves possible out there. 4 out of every $5 of gold that are bought in the world right now are coming from the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And of those 4 out of $5, 2 of those $4 are coming from China. The other 2 fought over by Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. And it is remarkable. They think that the U.S. economy is about to come unraveled, and they're preparing for it. That's why Swiss America has been sounding the alarm about the secret war on cash and how they want to help you protect your hard-earned assets. You can get their report, The Secret War on Cash, for free by calling or texting 800-289-2646. All you have to do is send them my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, 800-289-2646. 2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency as well. They are coming for your hard assets. You need to know how to protect them, and you need to understand the secret war on cash that's shaping up out there and how the BRICS are buying up all the gold. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Just send them my name, first name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. They'll send you the Secret Raw and Cash report completely for free, 800-289-2646. Or you can go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Message and data rates may apply. Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, I am delighted to have you with me. I got to play you some audio. This is from CBS News and their latest polling of the heartland and swing states.
These poll numbers from CBS News are really intriguing. In Arizona, we're looking at the issues of the economy and inflation driving the vote there. 80%, 82% of voters in Arizona, 78%, they say those issues are top of mind. And that's what we're hearing from voters on the campaign trail.
Hearing that everywhere. In fact, right now, Donald Trump is 52 to 47. Biden in Florida, it's 54-45. This is consistent across all the polls. And again, in fact, at the bottom of the next hour, I'm going to talk to one of the best pollsters in America across the aisles, highly regarded pollster for Signal, which also ran Governor Kemp's campaign, about how you should look at polling in this country, what you should take from it. And one of the consistent things is forget about the numbers. So 52-47 Arizona, that could be completely wrong. The trend lines, however, across polls are what's important. And when across all of the polls Donald Trump is leading in Arizona, the odds are he probably is. And a lot of Arizona Republicans have a problem if this is true, if it's true, because all the trend lines in Arizona show two things: that Donald Trump is winning and Kari Lake is losing. So many Republicans in Arizona don't like Kari Lake. Republicans, by going with Kari Lake, could very well be costing themselves a very winnable Senate seat. There are Republicans in Arizona who poll very good against the very progressive Democrat candidate running, but Kari Lake does not. And so Arizona Republicans, which I know, look, I got large audiences in Phoenix and Tucson. You guys need to decide for yourselves. Are you willing to commit suicide, or do you want to save the Republic? Because voting for Kari Lake appears more and more suicidal when Donald Trump can win the state and Kari Lake cannot. When there are other candidates who potentially could win. You guys got a hard decision to make, but you need to make it and hopefully not pick Kari Lake.